Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second installment in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, so to speak. I guess you can call it. Of course, this is part of the remake series of the Final Fantasy VII game. This is the second installment. It follows the story of Remake, where basically goes over the first part, the Midgar section of the Final Fantasy VII original game story. Now, this is sort of like a first impressions, not really because I already beat the game, but kind of review at the same time. This is just off the cuff. I have not scripted anything. I have an outline here. I just wanted to really try and put my mind into words as to what Fantasy VII Rebirth means to me. It is the midpoint in the story of Final Fantasy VII, where we see Cloud and his friends explore more of the expanding world outside of Midgard. You get to go to Nibelheim, you get to go to the Golden Saucer, you get to go to a lot of very iconic places that form part of the Final Fantasy VII original game. This whole section of the game is exploration galore. It is nothing more than just you following a trail behind Sephiroth, trying to figure out what he's up to, what's his real motive behind whatever it is that he's doing all this mess. And you get to kind of meet a lot of the other main characters from the main story from the original game. Now, some of the best things about this game are definitely the expanded storylines. You get to see more story behind what motivates and what kind of ails, for example, Barrett. You get to visit Corel, which is where he's from. You also get to meet some very important people in his life from his past life in this game. And it's not just him. You do touch upon Red, you touch about Tifa storyline, Cloud storyline, Aerith storyline. Like the expanded character universe in this game is immense. In comparison to Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you just kind of get where you're just introduced to the characters and not so much, actually understanding where they're coming from, what their motivations are, or why they are the way they are. And in this game, you do get a little bit of a more deep dive into those sort of stuff. My favorite story arc in this game is definitely the story behind Barrett. He was first painted out to be this very rugged individual. He's always felt like this very like unreachable emotionally character. In Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they expand so much as to why he is that way. And oh my god, Barrett has become my favorite character from the Final Fantasy VII game. Just amazing, just a very unique character, very complete character, and I'm glad that they expanded him a little bit more, because in the first game he felt sort of like this stereotypical aggressive rugged black man. In the second one, there's more character to him, so I really do appreciate that. I will say also something that was further expanded upon are the battle mechanics. This game follows much like the same first game in the remake series. It's very action packed. It's kind of like a Devil May Cry sort of a battle mechanic, very action packed. But at the same time, you still got your ATV gauges, and you got your skills, your summons, etc., etc. Just a great way to kind of strategize more of these attacks, strategize these battles, and I do appreciate that. It's battle mechanics, the way they completely changed for Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy VII Remake and the trilogy. It's just amazing. I think this is the best way forward. This is a completely new gaming world. Turn-based still has its place in a lot of gaming, but I feel that the newer generations, people are coming up, people who are new to these series are not from that generation, and they expect more action-packed, sort of heavy battle mechanics. So I think this is a great way for the Final Fantasy series to go through. And again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just a preference thing. And I'm seeing that more and more with the younger generations, and at least younger gamers, they do appreciate it, and they kind of prefer action gameplay more than anything. So it's still, they still require some strategy behind it. It's not just button mashing for the most part. So it's still some strategy behind it. So I really, really do like that they still give you that ability. They did a great job at meshing both battle styles or gameplay styles in a sense. So really, really like that expanded battle mechanics. And last but not least, the cutscenes are just amazing, man. The graphics are just beautiful. This is, of course, a PS5 game first and foremost, and it looks amazing, man. The graphics are beautiful, the cutscenes are amazing. Obviously, the pre-render cutscenes, not the in-game play cutscenes, because that is one of the things that I was very disappointed in. It just looks very cheap half the time, but it is what it is. Still, I do appreciate the pre-rendered cutscenes. They look really nice. They're just cinematic experiences, man. Some of the main cutscenes just make you feel like you're actually watching a movie. It's so realistic. It's so beautiful. It's so vivid. So great. And again, the animation, amazing. Love it, love it, love it. And not just the animation for the cutscenes, but the battle animations. It's just a beautiful game, man. If you just tear down all the things, if you just look at it from a very visual perspective, this is one of the best looking games I've ever played on my PS5. Right up there with Ratchet and Clank, right up there with Red Dead Redemption 2. It is amazing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ass game. Now, not everything is bunnies and roses, okay? There are some very, very negative things. Not negative, but things that I wish that were designed a little bit better, or at least given more of a thought process to them, because they just felt very rudimentary, especially for such a huge studio like Square Enix. And the first one is traversal. Exploring the world in this game, you're not confined just to the walls of Midgard. Now you're actually out there exploring the huge big world of Final Fantasy VII. You get it on chocobos, you can traverse the world, you can go from, one region of the world where it's nothing but mountain region, it's nothing but forest, and you go to another region which is nothing but jungle. You go into another city that is like a coastal city, so it's kind of like vacation-y, mini games here and there and all that sort of stuff. But the exploration part of it is so god dang boring. It is so boring, it's so repetitive. The rewards are not worth it half the time. The rewards are just literally you picking up sprigs off the floor, and it's herbs, it's little materials here and there that you can use to transmute into items, which are potions most of the time. The items I used the most during my gameplay were potions and Phoenix updrafts, or Phoenix downs. The ones that revive you, the items that revive you. I know that's half the fault. That's half mine, because I should have explored it a little bit more. I should have experimented with some of these other items. But at the same time, I'm like, in essence, I just need to stay healthy. I just need to stay alive to beat this game. So potions filled up my bag mostly, and that's all you transmute. Most of the, at least me, that's mostly what I use the item transmute option for the most. Besides that, you find some chests here and there. You find some materia, of course, which is very helpful, very useful, especially at the end of the game. And you find some, of course, some equipment, some weapons here and there, but it just felt very repetitive. It's very hard for me to look at open world, even though this game, yes, you can kind of argue that it is sort of an open world game, but at the same time, it's not, because you're very limited to the places that you can reach. Still, ever since Breath of the Wild, ever since Tears of the Kingdom, like, exploration is just so, like, the bar for it is so high up for me now that I'm not easily impressed with you just being able to go to different places and just like open up a chest. I don't know, there's just something missing there that hasn't been able to be replicated ever since I played Breath of the Wild. And I know this is very cliche. I know this is a very cliche argument. I do not care. Okay, half the time the reason why things are cliche is because they're true. So I just wish they would have done a little bit more there with the exploration part of things. Like, it just, I don't know, I just felt like there was something missing. Just very rudimentary, very primitive, not that exciting to explore, to be honest, for me at least. Party size, for me, only being able to have 3 people in your party is kind of whack to me. I know that's kind of like it was in the original games, but still, like, why am I having to see constantly like all 7 or 8 characters, I think, in total in the screen when I'm running around? But as soon as like a battle ensues, they all leave. Like, again, this is one of the things that I don't like about turn-based sort of like style of gameplay. Like, it's, I don't know. If you're just gonna give me, 2 or 3 characters to use at a time, might as well just give me one, because what's the point there? Like, I'm only controlling one in essence. So I don't get it. I don't get it, to be honest. At the same time, even though I did complain about the exploration and all that sort of stuff, there is so many things to do in the world. So much things to do to the point where it becomes tedious. It's not fun. It's not exciting. A lot of these side quests, I just complete, like, they just boil down to fetch quests, to go and kill this enemy camp and then come back with 2 or 3 items, and then that's it. There's not a lot of creativity in these side quests. A lot of these side missions are very repetitive. They're kind of goofy. They're just there to pad the story, to be honest. And I had the same issue and the same complaint from Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first game. So much padding is in this game. A lot of things serve no purpose. They don't advance the story. A lot of side quests. They don't add that much. Like, the items or the rewards that you get for completing those side quests, they're not worth it half the time. So there's no real incentive for you to complete a lot of these side quests, a lot of these side missions. There's just so much stuff to do. Even activating the towers, yeah, it kind of expands the map and it shows you where, like, there's other things for you to explore, but very repetitive. Go kill the enemies in this tower, activate the tower, boom, now you know where to go. Now, wow, there's enemies here now. Oh, there's a summon kind of like data point center to go to, but it's all the same thing in every single region. Very repetitive, not a lot of challenge there, not very rewarding at the end. Like, honestly, I only completed 1 summon side quest, and after completing it, I was like, I'm never gonna use this summon. What's the point? Just give me the summons. Like, it became very repetitive, very tedious. It was very overwhelming, very boring, very monotonous. So I did not like that part of this game. And a huge part of this game is just that, which sucks. Kind of brings it down a notch from the first game, in my honest opinion. Bit of a convoluted storyline, not gonna lie. You know, they added this whole multiverse element to it where now there's, like, spoiler alert, if you haven't beat the first game, why are you watching this? Okay. But yes, at the end of the first game, you basically challenge fate and you kind of break the timeline and create 2 separate parallel timelines. It kind of becomes a little convoluted at the end when that thing happens. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You know, look up. And it's kind of like, okay, what's the real story? Spoiler alert, by the end of the game, I'm kind of left confused as to what timeline I'm actually on. They tried to do this sort of like MCU multiverse sort of thing that is kind of not working because it's just very left up to your imagination, which, again, I do appreciate them not thinking that we're dumb and letting us kind of like figure that out on ourselves. But it just became so convoluted at the end because of how padded the story is that I just wanted it to be over. That half of it is my fault. I wasn't paying that much attention because I was just, okay, get me to the next part. Like, when is this game gonna end? Like, this should have ended 4 chapters ago. It just sort of like dragged to the point where I got so confused with just how much of a complex story. And again, I'm commending them for trying new things with the story. It just kind of falls apart a little bit there at the end. And I'm still excited to play the last game in the remake series. I'm still excited to see what happens in the end. I haven't beaten the original game, so even though I kind of have an idea what happens at the end, I still want to leave that ending up to, you know, the remake to kind of tell me what happens. But I kind of feel that I'm gonna have to watch the ending of the original to kind of put things together because I am so confused with the whole multiverse sort of thing they're trying to do right now, parallel universes and whatnot. But all in all, I still think this is a game to play. It is challenging, I will say that. There are parts where I spent 3 or 4 hours in just one boss, and no, it wasn't the final boss, which is crazy to think about. So just go with that mentality that it is challenging. It is not a walk in the park. You're gonna have to really dig into a lot of the mechanics in the battling system, the materia. You're gonna have to do your research. Like, it is very expanded. That's the expanded battle mechanics I'm talking about. It is very in-depth with that, which I do appreciate that they're still staying true to the original games in that sense. So yeah, it's just it's a great game. The battle mechanics, it's just a beautiful game. Just kind of wish they would have cut down like 3-4 chapters in the game, because a lot of it just felt very, just a lot of padding, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I really dig this game. But if I'm gonna be honest, at this point, knowing what I know, playing through the whole game, I probably would have been okay with just watching the cutscene on YouTube. That's how much I really did not like how padded and how overwhelming and tedious a lot of this game felt. However, I'm still excited for the last game. I'm still gonna play it. I'm not a quitter. Mama ain't raised no quitter, so I'm still gonna play through it. Pretty much it for my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth / review. First impressions / review, even though I already beat it. Not really first impressions. Spent 50 odd hours on that damn game. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Are you still playing it? This game came out in February, so it's a little bit late of a review, but still, I kind of want to, I like to take time with my games and really beat them, you know, and really strip them down to the core of it, and kind of like really put my thoughts behind it and really try to understand what the designers were trying to do with the game. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But folks, I've been True Fernie. Please make sure to follow me on Threads, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about gaming, currently talking about sports, talking about sneakers, talking about anything and everything that pertains to my life. Also, make sure to follow me, follow my YouTube channel, my sneaker YouTube channel, Shoe Fernie, where I upload sneaker reviews and all that sort of stuff. But folks, please take care of each other, but most importantly, take care of yourself. Peace. Shout out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. How about you rebirth with less chapters? How about that? Peace.